I opened the hotel room door expecting my wife in a bathrobe. Instead, I found pink balloons, a banner that read, "Welcome, Daddy," and my boss holding her belly whispering, "He has no idea." They both turned to me, startled, and she just laughed and said, "Guess you're late to your own surprise." Let me back up. A week ago, my wife Sienna said she had to fly to Atlanta for a client meetup and spa retreat, her company's way of promoting mental health for female executives. I didn't question it. Sienna's always been the polished type. HR director, nails always done, speech like a TED Talk. I trusted her. God, I was stupid. That Friday I left work early. Not because I suspected anything, because I got fired. Yeah, fired. My department at Geraldson Marine Tools was getting streamlined. Corporate speak for, "We're keeping your younger replacement and booting your 38-year-old ass." I'd trained that kid for 6 months. I got a 2-week severance and a forced handshake from the same guy who ordered my wedding cake 3 years ago. That guy? Russell. My boss. VP of Ops. Balding. Golf dad vibes. Always said things like, marriage is an investment and wives are depreciating assets. Anyway, that night I called Sienna to tell her the news. She didn't pick up, so I texted. No reply. I waited. Midnight, still nothing. She finally called at 7 a.m., sounding rushed. Said she was about to enter a chakra meditation, and the spa didn't allow phones. Something itched at the back of my neck. I ignored it. Saturday night, I got drunk. Then I got petty. I opened our joint Google Calendar. Sienna's business. Trips were usually color-coded. This one wasn't even on the damn calendar. Weird. So I did something I shouldn't have done. I opened our Find My app. I know. It's creepy. But we always kept location sharing on. That was our thing. Radical transparency, she used to call it. Her dot? Not in Atlanta. It was in Cape Marlow, a small beach town, 3 hours away. Cape freaking Marlow. That's where Russell has his vacation condo. I sobered up in 10 seconds, grabbed my keys, drove through the night. When I pulled up to the Sun Haven Inn, I still wanted to believe I was overreacting. I imagined all kinds of dumb things. Maybe she was helping Russell plan a company retreat. Maybe it was a mix-up. Maybe she just needed a mental break and didn't want me to worry. I walked in, gave the front desk a story about surprising my wife. The clerk, a bubbly college girl, said, "Aw, you mean Sienna Parlow? She's in 215 with Mr. Kessler. They just got back from the prenatal yoga class. So cute." Prenatal. Yoga. Class. I didn't even know she was pregnant. I didn't even know I was supposed to be a father. I didn't knock on the door. I used the spare key card the front desk girl gave me. She thought I was being romantic. Instead, I walked into hell. Pink streamers. A massive cake. 2 champagne flutes. Ultrasound photos taped to the mirror. My wife, glowing, smiling. Russell, shirtless in a silk robe. She turned to me, casual as ever. "Hey, babe, guess we should talk." I didn't say a word. I just stared at the ultrasound. 16 weeks. That meant she was pregnant before our anniversary trip to Tahoe, before the fight where she said we weren't connecting emotionally, before I begged her to go to counseling. Russell sat down and poured himself a mimosa. He didn't even look ashamed. "We were going to tell you," he said, but the timing felt off. I walked out, straight into the hallway. I don't remember taking the stairs. I barely remember vomiting in the parking lot. I drove home, in a fog. Called my brother. He told me to lawyer up, so I did. I thought that would be the end. But Sienna wasn't done. She sent me a letter the next day, handwritten. Said she felt terrible, but needed to follow her truth. Said she hoped we could be mature and amicable. Then she sued me for emotional distress. Apparently, me barging in and threatening her future child's father had caused her panic attacks. Yeah, the woman who cheated on me, lied to my face, and called me from a prenatal yoga class with another man was now claiming I traumatized her. That's when I decided to burn everything down. After the lawsuit hit, I was a walking nerve ending. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Malin's, smug face. I saw Russell, now forever known to me as the human clownfish, rubbing her belly like he earned it. I didn't even know what part made me angrier. The betrayal? The baby? The lawsuit? Or maybe the fact that my dog Rook was missing. Yeah, she took Rook. No note, no explanation, just gone from the backyard the morning after I got served the papers. When I called her, Malin didn't even deny it. She said, "You work too much. Rook deserves a stable household. He gets anxious with you." Anxious? He used to sleep curled around my damn feet. I wanted revenge. I really did. But I was broke, jobless, and somehow legally considered aggressive. Now because I walked into a party I wasn't invited to, in my own marriage. But then I caught a break. Malin was stupid enough to post on Facebook. One of those soft-lit filtered photos of her and Russell in front of the ocean, captioned, "Grateful for the universe and new beginnings." I didn't care about the beach. I cared about the date. Because that photo? It was taken 2 weeks before she claimed the baby was conceived. I called my lawyer, Tyrone Buckley, the only man on earth who speaks in military metaphors and charges by the hour like he's billing the Pentagon. He laughed for a full minute. When I showed him the photo, "Son," he said, "we're not just gonna win. We're gonna flatten them like a trailer in a tornado." We filed a counterclaim. Fraud, emotional distress, defamation. I threw in a request for full custody of Rook. Yeah, we're calling it canine conservatorship. But here's the kicker. Malin and Russell didn't even show up to the first hearing. Her lawyer claimed she had early pregnancy fatigue. I was told to be understanding. But honestly, screw that. So I did some digging. Not illegal, just smart. Turns out Russell's not just a VP, he's also married. Yeah, married to a woman named Larice. And Larice, she's not the forgiving type. I sent her the baby shower video. She sent me a gift basket and a bottle of Kentucky Single Barrel with a note. "Let's ruin them." We talked for 3 hours. Turns out Russell had been working late a lot, and not just with Malin. There was a trail of HR complaints buried under non-disclosure agreements. One of them from a temp who got reassigned to shipping after she misinterpreted his mentorship. Larice hired a private investigator. We pooled resources. She even got me in contact with a reporter from a local tabloid site called Gulf Screamer. Trashy? Yes, but effective. The article hit 2 weeks later. Headline read, "VP knocked up mistress while wife pays mortgage." With a side piece titled, "Former employee speaks, fired so boss could bang his wife." That was me, and you bet I spoke. Russell was placed on indefinite leave by the board. Malin tried to call me that night, crying, stuttering, saying she didn't know how to fix things. Fix things? You blew up my life for a man who wears leather sandals in February. I didn't answer. I let the silence ring. Then I saw the last straw. She posted another picture. This one was of Rook, dressed in a stupid onesie, with a caption that said, "Big Brother Training." That was it. I broke down. I sat on the floor of my apartment, cheap, moldy, and reeking of lost dreams, and I cried like a child. Then I got up, wiped my face, and wrote a letter, not to Malin, to Rook. And I made it public. Facebook, Twitter, hell, even LinkedIn. It went viral in 48 hours, because I wrote it like a father disowning his child, with raw, bleeding sarcasm. I wrote, "Dear Rook, I hope you enjoy your gluten-free treats and your stroller walks with Mommy and her new sugar penguin. Just know, you were never a support animal. You were my only support. Love, the guy who saved you from the pound and now lives like a raccoon." That post, it exploded. People started tagging rescue groups. Animal rights forums picked it up. And guess what? 1 week later, Malin was doxxed. Another week later, I got a call from a very red-faced police officer. Apparently, Rook was registered under my name, with my address, and Malin had no legal right to take him. So they asked if I wanted to press charges. I said no, but I did ask if I could come pick him up. And when I opened that car door and saw Rook leap into my arms like nothing had ever happened, I knew one thing: I had lost a wife. But I got my damn dog back, and that was only round 2. Getting Rook back was a win, a small one, but it cracked the shell around my bruised dignity. And once it cracked, I wasn't going to stop. I didn't just want revenge anymore, I wanted a scorched earth tour. I was still sleeping on a mattress, on the floor, working double shifts at a boat repair yard in Mariner's Hollow, a coastal dump with more broken hulls than hope. But I had something Russell didn't. Nothing left to lose, and that made me dangerous. I kept digging. Remember Larice, Russell's actual wife? Her private investigator struck gold. Not only did Russell use company funds for his hotel trysts with Malin, he also expensed gifts, spa packages, jewelry, even prenatal vitamins, under the title Client Relations. He was sloppy and arrogant. Even worse, he'd been recorded in a staff meeting joking about mentoring women horizontally. The audio was grainy, but clear enough to make a boardroom choke, and that's exactly where it landed. Larice leaked it to the company's ethics hotline. anonymously. Meanwhile, I made my move. Malin had started a mommy blog, the kind with fake perfect selfies, diet tips she didn't follow, and quotes from books she never read. I subscribed under a burner name and fed screenshots to an anonymous Reddit account. Then I started posting titles like, "My wife cheated with her boss, then asked for my dog in the divorce." Exposed. Corporate VP impregnates employee. Gets promotion. Anyway, they got traction, a lot of it. Soon local podcasters picked it up, then a national one. I went on air. Told my story, left out real names, but included every awful detail. How she lied, sued, and stripped my life like a stolen car in a chop shop. My voice cracked halfway through, but I didn't care. People were listening, and people were angry, but I wasn't done. The company where Russell worked, Graveson Marine Tech, was already getting heat. They scheduled an emergency board review. I got an invite, courtesy of Larisse. She told them I had pertinent information. She even flew me in. Paid for the hotel. All I had to do was show up and speak clearly. So I did. Walked into that boardroom wearing a $30 blazer that smelled like mothballs and vengeance. They gave me 10 minutes. I used 5. I hit play on the audio. Recording. The one with Russell's voice cracking jokes and bragging about how some chicks only want a promotion if they get it horizontally. Silence. One board member's mouth actually dropped open. Another looked like he aged 5 years in 5 minutes. Then I handed out printed emails, photocopies of receipts, a chart comparing company travel expenses to his personal trips with Malin. The chairman asked, "Why are you doing this?" I said, "Because someone needs to look these cowards in the face when they lose everything." Russell walked in during the last minute, pale, sweating. He saw me, and for the first time, he looked afraid. He didn't speak, just stood there blinking as I passed him in the hallway. That night, I got a text from Larisse. "He's done. They're voting tomorrow. You want to watch?" I declined. I had something better to do. I was taking Rook for a walk. That next morning, the headline broke, "Graveson VP resigns amid ethics scandal." He claimed it was to focus on his growing family. Sure, he just forgot to mention the part where his growing family didn't include Malin anymore, because yeah, she got dumped, Larisse told me first. Then Malin herself called, crying, said Russell disappeared, drained their shared account, and told her to figure it out. She wanted to talk. I agreed. Met her at a coffee shop off Route 8. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. Hair tied up in a messy knot, hands shaking, no makeup, no script, just raw, unfiltered regret. She said, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." I said, "Yeah, you only meant to cheat. Sue me. Take my dog. Lie about the baby. Ruin my name. That's not too far at all." She wiped her eyes, then whispered, "He told me to do it." I leaned forward. "What?" "Russell. He said if I sued you for emotional distress, he could get me a position in the company faster. He said he'd pay for the attorney." I laughed, loud enough to make people stare. She shrank in her seat. I stood up, grabbed my coffee and said, "Good luck, Malin. Try not to ruin the next guy with a LinkedIn account." Then I walked out. The wind hit me like a clean slate, and for the first time in months, I smiled. But this wasn't the end, because while Russell lost his job, he hadn't lost enough. The corporate world chewed Russell up, but the man didn't vanish. He slithered. 3 weeks after his resignation, he reappeared on my radar like a cockroach under fresh drywall. Only this time, he wasn't behind a boardroom desk. He was in Dockside District 9, the sketchiest part of Branton Bay, running some off-books operation out of an abandoned fishery warehouse. And Larisse? She wanted in. "Think he's hiding assets," she told me, sliding a brown envelope across my table, "at Cooper's Diner. He siphoned off too much money to just walk away broke." Inside were drone photos, Russell hauling crates into a loading dock at night, unmarked vans, no signage, no cameras, not even a business license. "This smells like laundering," she added. Or something dirtier. I didn't ask why she was still tracking her ex. Maybe she was as broken as I'd been. Or maybe revenge, once tasted, turns people into monsters. Either way, I didn't care. I wanted to see it with my own eyes. So I followed him. I took my friend Jarrell's old fishing truck, rusty, loud, and absolutely invisible, in a place where nobody asked questions. Parked across from the warehouse. Waited. Midnight. Russell pulled up in a black pickup. He got out, looked around, then used a keypad hidden under a drain pipe to unlock a rusted metal side door. I slipped in behind him. The place smelled like mold, salt, and chemical cleaner. But it wasn't empty. Inside were rows of workbenches, stacks of sealed boxes, a dozen men assembling something, small devices about the size of a deck of cards, each marked with serial numbers, and foreign labeling I didn't recognize. At the back, Russell was speaking in low tones to a bald man in a tailored coat. The guy didn't look local, he looked government issue. I ducked behind a crate, heart pounding like a jackhammer in my throat. Then I heard it. Shipment leaves Friday. Tell your guy in customs to clear it fast. If this batch gets seized like the last one, I'll bury your whole family in lawsuits. That wasn't business talk. That was threat talk. I lifted my phone and clicked one photo. Just one. Flash off. Then I got out before my luck ran out. The next day, I sent the photo to Larice with one word. Boom. She forwarded it to an old. Contact at the Office of Maritime Trade Enforcement, OMTE. Within hours, a special agent called me. We've had eyes on that warehouse for weeks. Couldn't get enough to justify a raid. I said, now you can. He asked if I'd testify. I said yes. He warned me, these aren't white-collar criminals anymore. You're poking the hornet's nest. I replied, then I'll bring a flamethrower. But I was nervous. Not because of Russell, because of what I'd become. A guy who'd gone from building boat decks to staging sting operations like a third-rate Jason Bourne. This wasn't revenge anymore. It was war. And I wasn't sure if I was still the good guy. Later that week, I got a call from Malin. Again, I almost declined. Then I remembered how she looked last time. Broken, quiet, ashamed. She didn't start with a greeting, just whispered, "They found me." My stomach flipped. "Who?" I asked. She said, "Russell's people, I don't know what. He told them, but they showed up at my apartment. 2 men. One asked me about you. Now that got my attention." "Me?" She hesitated. "They said you were interfering, and that I should warn you to stay away." I hung up, checked my door locks, then called Agent Franks at OMTE. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Get out of town. Now. We just intercepted. Chatter about a civilian nuisance. That's either you or Larice. We're moving in tonight." But I didn't leave. I couldn't, because Larice wasn't answering her phone. The call to Larice kept going to voicemail. 5 times. No answer. I didn't wait. I drove straight to her place, taking side streets, checking my mirrors. Branton Bay wasn't safe that night. The streets felt tighter, the shadows longer. Every taillight looked like a warning. Her apartment was dark, door slightly open. I stepped in. Her cat was meowing, trapped in the bathroom. But Larice was gone. Panic slammed into me like a wave. She didn't vanish. Someone took her. Then I heard the sirens, far off, but getting closer. OMTE was moving in. I raced back to Dockside 9. The fishery warehouse was lit like a football stadium. Black vans, tactical units, SWAT in full armor, a chopper overhead. I ditched the truck, ran on foot to the south fence, just in time to see men in cuffs, agents screaming, and Russell being shoved face first into the back of a Homeland SUV. But there was no sign of Larice. I flagged down Agent Franks, breathless. They took her. They knew we were coming. He looked grim. We only picked up 9 men. We were expecting 12. One of the vans fled before we breached. We're tracking it. My fists clenched. You let them take her? She wasn't. Even on our radar, he snapped back. You should have warned me. I nearly decked him right there. Instead, I gave him the GPS data from Larice's car, her phone, her emergency contact log. Then I went hunting. Again. Turns out the van had taken Route 7 out of the bay and turned west into the timberline wastes, miles of nothing but dead sawmills and burned-out cabins. Franks sent a drone team. I wasn't waiting. I followed. Halfway up a logging road, I found the van, abandoned, still warm, but there were footprints, deep and dragging, leading into the woods. I grabbed the flashlight from my glove box and followed them, a quarter mile. In, I found her. Tied to a chair inside an old ranger outpost, bruised, gagged, but alive. She flinched when she saw me, then burst into tears. I cut her free. She kept whispering, "I didn't know. I didn't know." I said, "Didn't know. What?" She looked at me, eyes hollow. That Russell's operation wasn't just about tech smuggling. It was about data. He had drives, blackmail files on politicians, executives, me. You? I asked. Larice nodded. I helped him. Years ago. I didn't know what he was really doing. He kept files on everyone who worked with him. Insurance. That's when I realized. Larice hadn't been helping me out of loyalty. She'd been helping me out of survival. She was trying to burn Russell down before he dragged her with him, and then came the twist I never saw coming. Before the van, she said, I got a message from someone else. Not Russell, a woman. She said if I didn't back off, she'd leak everything. Said you were just a pawn. That this whole thing was bigger than both of us. I froze. A woman? She nodded. Then, pulled out a burner phone she'd hidden in her boot. The last text read, You think you're playing hero, but you're in my game now. Stay cute, though. You've got great bones for a villain arc. No name, no number, just that. Agent Franks arrived with the drone team 10 minutes later. He looked at the phone and paled. That's not cartel. That's not foreign. That's domestic black cell. We've been tracking similar messages tied to political leaks across 3 states. He turned to me. You just kicked over a nest of snakes we weren't ready for. I didn't answer, because something had shifted in me. This wasn't about Russell anymore. This was about the people behind him, the ones pulling strings from the shadows, the ones who had names I didn't know. Yet, I didn't sleep after the rescue. Larice was safe, but everything else was a mess. Her confession had cracked open something bigger, darker, the mysterious woman, the blackmail drives, the message calling me a pawn in her game. I had to know. Next morning, Agent Franks called me into a secure conference room. He dropped a folder on the table like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Recognize this? He asked, flipping it open. There she was, the woman who sent the message, a photo. Grainy but clear enough. Shoulder-length dark red hair, cheek scar, and cold gray eyes. Name, Etta Voss, ex-intelligence. Vanished 4 years ago. Presumed dead. She'd been part of a covert digital surveillance unit that got shut down after a whistleblower leaked their side gig, running a shadow blackmail operation for private buyers. Turns out Russell worked for her. All of this? Every move, the raid, the threats, even Larice's involvement. It all traced back to Etta Voss, and she wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. Frank said she vanished again last week after sending the text. Her last known location? An airfield in Nevada? But I wasn't going to let it end there. I emptied my savings, sold my tools, my truck, even the damn fishing boat my dad left me. Every dollar went into one mission: find Etta, expose her, end this. I hired a cyber recon specialist Larice trusted. Guy named Marn. Looked like a comic book nerd, but moved like a ghost. In less than 48 hours, he pinged her location: Palm Ridge, Arizona, luxury retreat under an alias. I didn't go in guns blazing. I went in, dressed like a pool repair guy, walked right past security, found her by the pool, sun hat, cocktail, smug grin, like she wanted me to find her. Hello, Pawn, she said without turning her head. Took you long enough. You ruined lives, I said. You nearly got Larice killed, she shrugged. Collateral damage, I warned her. You too. Then she looked up. I don't delete people. I repurpose them. I laughed, because I finally understood her game. You're not the queen of anything, I told her. You're just scared someone's going to do to you what you've done to everyone else. She smiled. Try me. So I did. That night, I uploaded the full blackmail drive. Every file, every document, every name. It exploded like napalm across the internet. Politicians resigned. CEOs were indicted. 3 federal investigations were launched in under 72 hours. Russell's empire, gone. Etta's network? Exposed. Larice? Cleared. Protected. Franks even called me reckless, but effective. Said I'd set off a chain reaction the Bureau was still trying to contain. And Etta? She vanished again, but not before I got one final message. A simple video. Her, sitting in a car, holding a phone with my face on it. You made your move, she said. Cute, but pawns don't win the game. They just make it more interesting before they're swept off the board. Then she winked, and the screen went black. It's been 6 months. Larice left Branton Bay. Witness protection. Me, I stayed. I reopened. The shop, fixed boats, drank coffee with Marn, pretended to live a normal life. But I watch every camera, every stranger who lingers a little too long by the docks. Because I know Etta Voss is still out there, and someday she'll come back to finish the game. And I'll be ready, because I'm not a pawn anymore. I'm the fire that burns the board to ash. And here it is, the finale of today's story. Did everything turn out as you imagined, or did it end unexpectedly? I'd love to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into the discussion together. If this story kept you in suspense, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? This is your chance to join an incredible community where exciting new stories unfold every day. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date. Thanks for your attention and see you on your new adventures.